Okay guys, so welcome back. This is part 2 of this story. So, our entire conversation was, JN, alright Cass, what are you going to do while I'm up here with you? Me, I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to have you humiliate me. I already explained myself to Team Lead KW, and I'll explain the same thing to you. Each customer, I get their email, and when I get their email, I add it into my register before proceeding to cash them out. I get about 5 to 7 emails each shift. They always go into my register. So at the end of the work week, I should have at least 32 or 35 emails even. Instead of accusing me of not doing my job and needing retrained because of it, you guys as managers should be first checking your office computers for glitches or bugs or any kind of malfunctions, because getting 32 to 35 emails in 1 week is what should be showing from me. I'm not getting trained. Team Lead JN. Okay, Cass, we're gonna talk about all of this later. Me. Okay, fine, I'll be ready when you are. This was our conversation, alright? So, at this point, one of my customers gave me their email after seeing this ordeal happen, and I added that one email into my register before I was called back in the processing area to process for 45 minutes instead of cashiering up front. So before I continue, when I shattered her little ego and told her that, she basically punished me. She had me punished by taking me off register and throwing me in the back to process. Like, she stuck me in clothing to process because I said, I don't need trained and things like that. So yeah, she had me processing for 45 minutes instead of cashiering up front. I remember I got 100 pieces on my rack within the 45 minutes, and I had just gotten them all priced up. I didn't know that within those 45 minutes, management was setting me up. I was ready to run my rack onto the sales floor when Team Lead JN called me into the office for that talk we were supposed to have. In the office, sitting in the corner, was Team Lead KW, the team lead that was all for helping me in the beginning. She could not make eye contact with me. It was then I knew something bad was about to happen. I sat down, composed, and that's when the biggest bomb in 4.5 years, that is when the biggest bomb had been dropped on me. Team Lead JN stated that as I was processing for the 45 minutes, she got a hold of the main manager. Manager JK, the one that had a thing for my brother. The one that also treated me like SHID. She got a hold of the main manager JK and told her everything. Everything. Okay? Not the truth, but everything. And together they decided to contact the regional manager and tell him how I was being ignorant, that I was disobeying, that I wasn't doing my job. And all 3 of them came to the conclusion that I deserved to be suspended until I learned my lesson. After 4.5 years of it all, I cried. I sat in that office chair and I had tears coming down my face. I was starting to cry. and again with both team leads in the room, with team lead KW and team lead JN, both in the manager's office. I explained myself for the third time, very calmly for the third time, but in tears, because I was starting to get really upset and emotional. And I explained myself as calmly as I could. The conversation in that office was, this is what I said: I've worked here for 4.5 years. Within those years, I stopped a thief from walking out of the store with merchandise. I always did more than what was expected of me. I never said no to anything that was ever asked of me. I always hit my goals. I made it known that I would work 12-hour shifts if needed. I was trying to work on my driver's license so I could have more hours here. I kept the store as clean as I could, being the only closing cashier. And on top of that, I've done so much more. Yet I've watched everyone else receive Employee of the Month when they did not deserve it. And I never, ever got it. Why is that? I watched a male employee F out another team lead. He got up in her face and he didn't even get written up. But God forbid I say no one time and for a good reason and I get suspended. No matter how badly I was treated over the years here, I still did my damnedest, and this is what it comes to. JN, you do have the right to the way you feel. Me, the right to feel what? Why aren't you people even listening to me? JN, Cassandra, you need to go home and wait until HR calls you to come back. Go collect your things and just go home. Me, after explaining myself very calmly 3 times, not once, not twice, but 3 times to both team leads, after keeping everything inside after 4.5 years, all of the abuse that was done to me, and just everything, I finally exploded. I mean, I was already suspended anyway, right? They were already sending me home. So I exploded and I said, you know what? F you, F the main manager, and F the regional manager. This is so warped and so messed up. I am so close to getting my driver's license and my first car, and when I do, I'm going to look for a job that actually appreciates me, my hard work, my dedication, that actually notices me, that listens to me, that hears me instead of accusing me. That is what I'm going to do. Team lead JN just kept telling me, go collect your things and go home and wait until HR calls you to come back to work. I wiped away my tears and I walked out. I said goodbye to someone who worked there. They were confused on why I was leaving so soon, because at this point, I think I was there for only like 2 hours, or so. Anyways, I got back home and had no idea what to do with myself. I was a wreck, not being able to have that going to work routine. I did not know what to do until HR contacted me. A few weeks passed and I never got a call from HR, ever. Instead, 2 cashiers texted me and asked me why did I leave forever. I explained how I didn't permanently leave, that I was only suspended, that I was waiting for HR to contact me. They told me how team lead JN was going around telling all the other employees how I quit on the spot, when I did not. She was also telling everyone that she brought me in the day that she brought me in the office to talk. Instead of talking to them, I effed him out. So basically, team lead JN was telling all the employees that I looked at her in the face and was like, I quit. And instead of me going in the office and explaining myself for the third time calmly. She was telling everybody that I instantly started effing them out, like that basically that I didn't even sit down. Like, I was effing them out. Like, she was lying through her teeth about the entire freaking thing. Like, she was just lying through her teeth. These two cashiers, they proceeded to tell me how team lead JN was going through all of my personal belongings inside my locker, doing whatever she wanted with them. And I started to panic because everything that was inside my locker, I bought and I paid for. Everything in my locker were my personal belongings. I spent money on it all, and none of what JN was saying was even true. When I got suspended to begin with, the main manager was on vacation, but after a few weeks, she was back. And even though she was always mean to me, I called her twice. I was trying to get a hold of her personally to explain the whole situation one-on-one, since honestly I never got a one-on-one conversation. After I tried calling her twice, that's when she put my number on block. I emailed HR explaining to them everything. I tried calling the store, talking to a team lead or another manager. I was told that HR got my emails and forwarded them to the managers themselves, that I would hear something back from them soon. It's been over a year now. I haven't heard anything. While working at Goodwill and working as a nighttime manager, because again, while I was working at Goodwill as a cashier and processor, I was also working at another area in retail as a nighttime manager. So 2 jobs. I loved it. I loved working those 2 jobs, and I wanted to be a manager at my local Goodwill one day. I had the retail management experience after all, so why not, right? I told an employee there, like when I was still there, I told another employee there that, my plans on being a manager at a local Goodwill one day in my life, and how that's what I wanted to do in my life. My brother, who had other plans in his life, overheard what I wanted to become. This was when his life plans changed. He started talking to the main manager about it. She knew I had manager experience, but I heard her tell everyone that my brother was the one with 0 experience in management, mind you, would make a fantastic manager, and that I, again, someone who was a nighttime manager at another area in retail, that I would not even come close to qualifying. To add on to it, in order for my brother to even have a chance at being a manager or a team lead for that matter, I could no longer work there. That was a role for everyone. If they wanted to be a team lead or manager, no one in their family could work there. It's all adding up now, isn't it? Late last year in 2023, my brother changed for the absolute worst, to where he went to my mom's home after having no contact with her for months on end, just to rub it in her face that he and that team lead, JN, do everything together. They go to the gym together. They were always making one plan or another to do something. He proceeded to call my mother a few choice words and and before leaving her, he told her, he told my mom, he was like, all of Cass's belongings that were inside her locker. Yeah, team lead JN did whatever she wanted with the most of it, but she gave me the picture magnets of my niece, and Cass will never have them back. They're mine now. So some of the things that I had in my locker, like my personal things, I had a Minecraft creeper ornament. I had a Nutcracker Christmas ornament. I had a little container in there that had like little things in there, like fingernail clippers, a little bit of lip gloss, cheap perfume, checking my locker, she took a chunk of it and she did whatever the hell she wanted with it. And she gave my brother the picture magnets of me and my child. Anyways, my brother proceeded to tell my mother, he said, by the way, team lead JN is now my new mother. And as for you, I disown you as my mother. He looked in my mother's eyes and told her, I disown you as my mother. The team lead JN up at Goodwill, she's my new mother. We do everything together. He then left my mother there to cry as he drove off. My mom had a mini stroke because of this and was barely able to call me. I raced down in my car because at this point I'd already gotten my driver's license in my car. I raced down in my car to hold her and calm her down. My brother has been the reason why my mom has had a few hospital visits. The items that I had in my locker, I already told you. You know, like the few magnetic photos of myself and my daughter, the ornaments, I even had pins on my work vest that I had bought. Everything that was in my locker, I bought. Everything I spent money on, and they stole that from me, all of it. They had multiple ways of getting my things back to me, multiple opportunities, but they never did. I think I forgot to put it in here, but the opportunities that they had to get all my belongings back to me was, they could have called me. They still had my phone number. They still had ways to contact me to ask me if I wanted to come in for my belongings. They never did. The second way they could have gotten my belongings back to me was not long after they basically sabotaged me and kicked me out of Goodwill. My mom wasn't exactly sure of the entire situation, so she would go up to Goodwill still to shop every now and then. And they all saw my mother there. They could have gave my belongings to my mother to give back to me, but they did not. That's two ways so far that they could have got my stuff back to me, but they did not. The third way, they had my house address. They could have at least mailed my stuff to me. Okay, God knows that they were sending me like employee discounts. Even though they got rid of me, I was still being sent employee discounts and tax forms. So why couldn't you just send my stuff to me instead of stealing all of it from me and doing what you wanted with it and giving half of it to my brother? You know what I mean? Like, you stole my stuff from me. All that stuff is what I bought and you stole it from me. I tried speaking out of this abuse once, but without using any names of the people involved. Not even their initials, like I am in this story. I didn't even use the company's name, but I kept getting threatened. My brother and team lead JN gave my mother a message to give to me, which was, keep lying about us and we'll take you to court and get you for defamation. Okay, well, for starters, how are you going to get somebody for defamation when that person never mentioned anything really detailed, didn't mention their names or the exact location, or you know what I mean? That's not how it works. That's not how it works. I've been to court many a times. That's not how it works, okay? And secondly, the questions that run through my mind today are, okay, well, if it's all a lie, if I am lying about this entire freaking ordeal, why do I have witnesses? there's other victims that you torment that exist. Why are there other victims? And 3, why the hell does it bother you that much when no one's name nor the company's name was ever involved to begin with? A year later, after all this happened and my mom went back up there to go shopping up there a little bit, she overheard the team lead, JN, tell my brother, like in a low whisper, she's like, "Is your mother still upset about what I did to your sister?" Seriously, a year later, and this is what you're still thinking? I was so horribly traumatized up there. I was in the biggest depression and anxiety of my entire life. Like I said earlier on in this story, for 4.5 years I worked there. I was basically a rag doll, okay? They destroyed me mentally, emotionally, and physically. I never once stepped out of line for no reason. I always did more than what was expected of me. And this is why at my second job, the reason why I became a nighttime manager at my second job, that was why. Because I always did more than what was expected of me. I was that much of a really hard worker, like that dedicated. And that's why I made it to nighttime manager at the other retail location. But these people at Goodwill, some of the employees and some of the management, they abused me so horribly for 4.5 years. And I suffered greatly and deeply from it. Every day for 4.5 years being told that you're an ugly bitch, that you're stupid, your life doesn't matter. Why don't you just end it? Your daughter would be embarrassed of you. You should feel blessed that I'm even talking to you, because everybody here knows that you came in today, but nobody even wants to talk to you. Being physically abused by having really hard items thrown at you, causing you bruises on your body, causing you to bleed at some point, and nothing was ever done about it. Management knew about it. Nothing was really ever done about it. And, there was one incident where, I did not put this in my story yet, but I'm going to. I'm not racist. Let me put this out here. Okay, I am not racist. I am friends with so many black people, so many Asians. Like, I love people, okay? But on one instance, when I was working as a cashier up at this Goodwill, we had a bunch of, as we call them, Norwegians. They were black people that came from other countries, and they spoke whatever language they were speaking. And it was on the news around this point that some of these Norwegians, I'm going to put the Norwegians in quotation marks, some of these Norwegians were actually coming over here to try and kidnap white girls and shove them in their vans. This was reported, okay? We would get these same kind of Norwegians coming into our store. Men Norwegians, okay? And they would go through and buy every single women's clothing they could, okay? Me being cashier all the time, there was one time in particular where these Norwegian men were trying to get behind my register to grab me, to sniff my hair, to pull me away from my register. And I'm literally pushing these disgusting men away because it's not because of their color. It's just when they're trying to grab you and they're trying to pull you away from your register and they're sniffing you, like, hell no, get your dirty paws off of me, okay? I I looked in the back, in the back where the door that led back to the processing area. I saw the main manager JK, and my brother watching this happen to me, and they thought it was absolutely funny. Did they send anybody up to help me? Hell no. They thought it was funny that these Norwegian men were trying to freaking grab me from behind the register and pull me out from there, sniffing me, trying to grab my breast. They thought it was absolutely funny. These Norwegian men would be in their 50s or 60s, and they would even try to hit on my cashiers who were underage and try to find out where they lived, what their house address was. And I was always telling my underage cashiers, don't interact with them. Do not tell them anything about where you live or anything. That is not safe. Luckily, these girls listened to me and took my advice, because these Norwegians would do this all the time. They would come into the store. They would come into Goodwill and they would watch me clean up the aisles, every aisle, and they would walk into that specific aisle that I just cleaned, and they would grab things off the rack and throw it everywhere. Everything I just cleaned. They would watch me, and as I went to the next aisle, they would go into that aisle that I just got done with, and they would throw everything and destroy it and look at me and laugh. When they walked out of the store, I had to go back over there and re-clean it. I worked about 6 hours a day, and I had to clean and re-clean after these Norwegians and other customers and children, only to come home and take care of my own child. It was extremely difficult for me. There was one Norwegian woman that came in, and she was pregnant. She grabbed ice cream out of our cooler and began eating it without paying for it. This was the same day, I believe, after that Norwegian man tried to grab me from behind the register and was sniffing me and stuff. I believe this was the same day. After the men left, the Norwegian woman came in, and she grabbed an ice cream out of the cooler and started eating it before she paid for it. Some of the ice cream fell on the floor, and she started eating it, licking it right in front of me. As I was cashiering, I was just, okay, if that's what you do in your country, okay, cool, but you're in America now. You don't go licking things that were on the floor, okay? But after this entire ordeal, I was so angry. I was disgusted with what I just saw, and I was disgusted more so with the Norwegian men trying to, the Norwegian guy trying to pull me out from behind my register. He kept grabbing at me, trying to pull me out from behind it, sniffing me, trying to do whatever the hell. I was so angry and just so disgusted, and I couldn't take it anymore. And like I said, seeing that my brother and the main manager were watching from the window in the back door, just giggling about it, I had enough. I was so angry, because I'm this Norwegian guy could literally kidnap me, and the main manager and my brother are back there just laughing about the entire ordeal. They wouldn't even have time to run out and help me if I was getting kidnapped, okay? When all of this ended, when all the Norwegians left, I pulled out my phone and I sent my brother this really horrible text. I regret it now. But I told him, and I never use this word, but I used the N-word because I was just that angry, and doesn't justify, but after the entire ordeal, I used the N-word and I said, I am tired of these, insert N-word here, coming in here and ruining everything that I keep cleaning. Like, they ruin it on purpose. They watch me clean an aisle, and then when I walk out of the aisle, they go into that aisle and ruin everything and just watch me and laugh about it. I told them, I told my brother, I said, I've been calling for help to help me deal with these people, and you guys are back there. Nobody's coming up here to help me. Like, I was so hurt and so angry. And I told him, I said, I just watched one of these Norwegian ladies eating from the floor, like eating ice cream. Like, I needed help up here with these Norwegian men and these Norwegian women, and you guys just stayed back there. Like, nobody came up here to help me. And at some later point, my brother did use that text of where I used the N-word. He used that text against me because that's just how my brother is. He used that against me, and he did post it on social media. There's like another story behind that, but I'll get into that at some other point in my life. But he used that text against me and was trying to make everybody believe that I'm racist and that I hate black people. And it made me upset because I don't have one racist bone in my body. I just exploded because, again, I'm over here getting fondled. I'm being sniffed. I'm being tugged and pulled at by a Norwegian man. I'm like fighting him off. And I see the main manager and my brother back there giggling about it. Like, they see what's going on and they're giggling about it. Now, like, the entire ordeal, like, I snapped and I said what I said something that I shouldn't have said, but that's what I regret. But yeah, he used it against me and was trying to make everybody believe that I was a very negative person that hated black people. And it's like, and everybody thought that I was prejudiced. Everybody thought that, oh, Cass hates black people. And again, the rumor still spreads. But it's like, you know what? If I hated black people so much, why do I let my child play with little black children at the park? Why? And I know I don't have to explain myself, but it's like, when I was about 20 years old, I think I mentioned him in the story briefly, but when I was about 20 years old, I had a really good friend that I met while I was working as a security officer. His name was Aaron. He served in the army for a good amount of years, and when he came out, he found out that he was dying from cancer. He was a black man. He was the greatest man in my life. Like, he was like another dad or another grandfather to me. I did everything with him. Okay? I went to the park with him. I walked with him because he had bone marrow cancer, so it was really hard for him to walk. So I went on walks with him. I went to the store with him. Like, I did everything with this man. Like, he was my best friend. He was like the grandfather that I never had, And when he passed away from cancer 2 weeks before my child was born, I was destroyed because he wanted to hold my daughter when she was born, but he didn't get that chance because he passed away. I was destroyed. So I sit back here now and I'm just like, if I was so prejudiced, if I hated black people that much, like, how does that make sense? Like, I'm not going to mention his name, but I do have a very good friend, and he is a school teacher. That's all I will say. And he's a black man, and I love that man to pieces. Like, he's just really funny, and like, he makes everybody laugh on their worst days. And it's like, I sit here now and I'm like, if I'm so prejudiced, if I hate black people that much. Like, again, how does all of that make sense? I don't know. I'll have to tell you about my brother at some point, because I really want you guys to, like, have a full, more understanding of him. It's absolutely just phenomenal. Like, I'm not even kidding. But anyways, it's been over a year now that I've gone through not working there, and like at Goodwill, and the recovery journey of it has not been easy. Sometimes I still wake up and I have nightmares about being there and being told, why don't you just end your life? You're not important. Your daughter's better without you. I have nightmares about this to this day. I make the joke, though, about how the last thing I was told before I left Goodwill that day, because I was told to go home, the last thing I was told was, wait until HR contacts you. I make the joke about, I've waited over a year now, and I have nothing from HR, but you know what? I still get tax forms from them. It's weird. But anyway, the recovery part of all of that abuse that they were doing to me every day for 4.5 years, it was like one of the hardest things. Like, I'm still not fully healed over it. These people have been harassing me without harassing me. They've been, like, stalking my social media to, like, make sure that I don't say anything about any of this, you know? They threatened me once before, like I already mentioned, and it's like I'm done being their victim. I am done being quiet about it. I mean, honestly, like, I could just, like, between you and me, whoever you are, it's a case of, I can take a lie detector test and pass it. Can you? Everything I'm saying in here, I can take a lie detector test and pass it. Can Goodwill? Can management? Seriously. Like, that is how dead serious I am about everything that they did to me. I'm still trying to recover from the damage that they did to me. I was on anxiety medication for quite a while. I suffered from the greatest amount of depression. Like, it was impossible. I didn't want to go out anywhere. I didn't even want to get makeup on or do my hair or, like, anything. I didn't care about life anymore, because I wanted so badly to work at Goodwill for, a handful of years and eventually make it to being a manager in Goodwill, and but it took me about a year and 2 or 3 months later, which is right now, to have that mindset of, hell no, these bastards are not going to keep me quiet. I'm not gonna be a victim anymore. I'm not ugly. I'm not disgusting. I may not be a supermodel, but I'm not ugly. I'm not disgusting. And I am worth living. Like, it took me a very long time to get out of the dirt mindset that they kept me in and get into a cleaner mindset. And now I have the right kind of friends that actually love me and support me, and that myself. I am taking a different route that I never thought I would take. I'm bettering myself. And it's funny because the route I'm taking, I'm glad I took it. I'm glad I'm taking it because I realized I'm so much smarter than they actually ever gave me credit for. My IQ is decent, you know. So I'm doing much better now that I was able to kind of just move forward and, you know, but you know what? I think now I'm 30 years old and it took me many years to realize this, and I think for the younger people, people that are younger than 30, the message that I want to give is, if anybody is telling you that you're not worth it, you should self-delete. You're ugly, stupid, unimportant. The people that tell you that on a daily, you need to cut them out ASAP. Because those people, they are vampires. They will suck everything out of your heart and soul, and they will make you have self-doubt. They will make you start believing that you are ugly, you should self-delete, you should do this, you should do that. Those are not the right kind of people for you, and you need to get them out of your life ASAP. You, as a person, you are worth it. You're not ugly. I don't care what you look like. You're not ugly. You're not stupid. You should not self-delete. What you should do is, again, get those kind of people out of your life. Because I found that the people that are like that towards you, those exact people are jealous of you in some way or another. They have something against you for them to do that. You don't need that trash in your life. You need to get them out. And you need to start focusing on yourself and what you like to do and your future plans. You need to do your own thing and not let people tear you down. I mean, my motto for the past year and a half has been, prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. If they say that you're dumb and stupid, prove them wrong. If they say you're not smart enough to do this or that, prove them wrong. You gotta prove them wrong. But yeah, I am done being a victim of all this, and I wanted to share my story about this. One other thing before I go. I'm definitely not mentioning anybody's name with this, but like anybody who relayed this to me. Anyway, you know, in this story here, the main manager, JK, let me tell you what else she's known for, okay? Many, many years ago, there was a young man that worked at Goodwill, and at the time, I guess, JK was in her early 30s or so. This young man was probably in his early 20s. JK kept trying to make certain advances to him, and this young man was like, listen, I'm here to work, not to play, not to date. I'm sorry, I'm not interested. She got so angry because this hot guy wasn't giving her the attention that she was trying to get, okay? She called HR and lied and told HR, I want this man fired because he was ever done. This man instead got fired for doing absolutely none of it. This JK, she then proceeded to go around and tell all the employees, guess what I did? You know, the hot guy that I hired a while ago, like a while back? Yeah, he wouldn't accept my sexual advances, and it made me angry, so I got him fired. I reported him for sexual harassment. This is what she did. This is what she's known for. And this is what she's been everything that I say in this video, both videos, part 1 and this part 2, is completely true. Like I said, I have the balls enough to be able, like, I will more than willingly take a lie detector test to prove that everything I'm saying right now is true. Can Goodwill do it? Can management do it? I don't think so. It's the fact that it's been a year later and they're still stalking me to make sure I don't say anything, you know? I can't express it enough. But yeah, 4.5 years of being mentally, emotionally, and physically abused and having to stay quiet about it. I'm not quiet anymore. I don't care. It has affected me so badly, and I'm finally able to step away from it, and I'm finally able to stand up for myself and tell my story. And if they find it, and if they start, oh my god, we're taking you to court, okay, you know what, I really don't care. Maybe if you wouldn't stalk me so much, you wouldn't even come across this video, right? Stop stalking my social media. But again, why does it bother you so much? Again, like, if it's all a lie, why does it bother you? I'm not giving the exact location of which Goodwill it was. I'm not giving out anybody's name. I'm saying your initials, but not your names, not your full names. Why do you want me to keep shut up about it? Why don't you want me talking about it? If it's all a big lie, why do you stalk me to this day to make sure I'm quiet about it? Anyways, I'm no longer depressed. I don't have any more anxiety either. I do have like 1% of social anxiety, but I get that from my grandmother. Other than that, I'm all good. Goodwill has no more control over me. They don't have that power to hurt me anymore because I'm over here telling my story and just releasing it, something that they wanted me to keep inside for the rest of my life, and it's not happening. So I hope you guys found this story. I don't know if you guys would find this story relaxing or what, but I hope you found my whispering relaxing, and I hope you found my story to be educational in some way, like informational, you know. I hope it inspires you to stand up for yourself a lot sooner than I did, you know. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that is all I have for today's video. I'm gonna be working on a few other things, so I will catch you guys later. Bye. Oh my god, this video is long. It's like 50 minutes.